It's just crazy. Just read.
New audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Holmes, Sean Diddy Combs' son, of sexual assault.
The fall of Sean Diddy Combs has been nothing short of monumental, and what's coming out now is even more jaw-dropping than anyone could have imagined. It's not just the A-listers or business partners turning their backs on him. It's his own family. Yes, you heard that right. Diddy's own sons have reportedly made a deal with the FBI, spilling details that could seal the fate of their once powerful father. These aren't just vague whispers anymore. As the investigation unfolds, the role Diddy's sons played in his downfall is coming into focus, and the web of connections is more twisted than we ever thought.
This has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living.
Diddy's arrest was a seismic event that sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. He's no stranger to scandal, but this time, it's different. His empire isn't just being rocked by rumors, it's being systematically dismantled. The charges against him are nothing short of overwhelming. We're talking racketeering, fraud, and, of course, his infamous wild parties that are now central to the investigation. These were the parties where Diddy allegedly lured people into a life of excess, where powerful celebrities mingled and partied like there was no tomorrow. But beneath all the glitz and glamour, something far darker was brewing.
You know, I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now.
Now, the focus has shifted to his two sons, who once enjoyed the same opulent lifestyle their father was known for. We always saw them at the parties, on the red carpets, in the front rows of exclusive events. They were living the high life, following in their father's footsteps. But what most people didn't know is that they weren't just bystanders. Allegedly, they were right in the thick of it. The FBI had their eyes on them for a while, and as soon as Diddy was arrested, it didn't take long for his sons to be named as accomplices.
Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
The most damning part, their involvement in their father's business was much deeper than anyone realized. While Diddy is facing charges for everything from running illegal operations to financial crimes, it's now been revealed that his sons were directly involved in these schemes. They weren't just living off Diddy's fortune. They were helping him build it through shady deals and unethical business practices. When the FBI came down on them, it was clear they had been part of their father's inner circle, aware of how things were really running behind the scenes.
This is a huge stain on his reputation, to say the least, and this really feels like a fall from grace for one of the biggest stars and moguls.
Sources close to the investigation suggest that Diddy's sons had a hand in funneling money through various channels, creating a maze of offshore accounts and dummy corporations that were part of a much larger, highly organized financial scam. On paper, they looked like legitimate businessmen, but the reality was far from it. Their involvement in money laundering operations tied directly back to Diddy's crimes. The whole setup was designed to hide the true origins of their father's vast fortune. And here's where it gets really interesting. The authorities caught on to it.
If he's allowed to go through with any of the sales, I won't be able to recoup any of my monies or anything from him as a result of any possible judgment in this action, if he's allowed to proceed with it. And an injunction or a restraining order would help ensure that he's not manipulating and selling the property to avoid.
Once the feds started digging, it was clear that Diddy's sons weren't going to escape unscathed. Faced with the evidence, they were left with two options: go down with their father or save themselves. It's being reported that both sons quickly realized their situation and cut a deal with investigators. And let's be real, with the possibility of spending decades in jail looming over them, you can't exactly blame them for wanting to avoid that fate. But this is where the story takes a heartbreaking turn. Diddy never saw it coming. He never expected that his own sons would be the ones to bring him down.
And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise.
Imagine the scene. Diddy sitting in a cold, dimly lit interrogation room, learning that his sons have flipped on him. For a man who prided himself on being untouchable, who spent decades cultivating an image of strength and control, this betrayal must have been crushing. The mogul who once commanded an empire of music, fashion, and media was now being betrayed by the very people he thought he could trust the most. It's like a Greek tragedy playing out in real life, with Diddy as the tragic hero brought down by his own bloodline. Diddy's incarceration has only added fuel to the fire. His lavish lifestyle is now a distant memory as he sits behind bars, awaiting his trial. According to insiders, he's being held in one of the harshest detention centers in the country, the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn. For someone who once lived in multi-million-dollar mansions, the adjustment must be beyond difficult. In this grim facility, Diddy no longer enjoys the luxury he's used to. Instead, he wakes up each day in a tiny, windowless cell, surrounded by the constant noise and tension of prison life. His meals are no longer gourmet, but standard prison fare, bland and minimal. He's not accustomed to the strict prison routine, the lack of freedom, or the harsh reality that no amount of money or influence can buy his way out of this.
Clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Reports from inside the detention center suggest that Diddy is not coping well. Some say he's isolated himself, refusing to engage with other inmates, while others claim he's been seen pacing his cell for hours at a time, deep in thought. Whatever the case may be, it's clear that prison life is a far cry from the world he once ruled. This is a man who used to throw parties attended by the biggest stars in the world, who had a fleet of personal assistants catering to his every whim. Now, he's just another prisoner, awaiting his fate.
And a lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those 2 raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak-offs.
But it's not just the prison conditions that are weighing on Diddy. It's the overwhelming sense of betrayal. His sons didn't just turn him in, they handed over some of his most closely guarded secrets. Information that no one outside of his inner circle knew. And now, that information is in the hands of the authorities, and it's not looking good for Diddy. The very sons who were supposed to carry on his legacy have instead contributed to its complete and utter destruction. One of the biggest revelations to come out of this betrayal involves Diddy's infamous private events, the same ones that were once seen as exclusive, invite-only parties for the rich and famous. While these parties were known for their extravagant displays of wealth and excess, it turns out they were also cover for some much darker activities. According to the investigation, Diddy's sons were allegedly involved in coordinating some of these events, ensuring that the right people were invited and that everything went off without a hitch. But now it's being alleged that they knew exactly what was happening behind the scenes, and they're not denying it. Instead of standing by their father and claiming ignorance, Diddy's sons have reportedly confirmed that they were fully aware of what was happening at these events. They're said to have admitted that they knew about the questionable dealings, the backroom agreements, and the shady characters who frequented these gatherings. This was no ordinary party scene. It was a carefully orchestrated operation, and Diddy's sons were a part of it. But when the FBI came knocking, they made the decision to distance themselves from their father's sinking ship. They've handed over information that is now playing a key role in the government's case against Diddy.
We all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle of abuse.
That clearly there is a criminal investigation underway, and that they believe that there would be evidence of crimes in one or both of these homes.
But here's the kicker. The twins, Diddy's daughters, appear to be uninvolved. Sources close to the family suggest that they are innocent in all of this, completely unaware of the shady activities going on behind the scenes. In fact, they are being portrayed as victims, swept up in the chaos their father created. They'll likely serve as witnesses in the trial, helping to corroborate the FBI's case, but it's clear they had no hand in the criminal operations. Unlike their brothers, the twins will likely emerge from this scandal relatively unscathed. But for the sons, it's a different story.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner.
The legal cases against Diddy's sons are reportedly complex, but they boil down to a few key charges. First, they're being implicated in financial fraud, accused of helping their father launder money through a series of fake businesses and offshore accounts. These weren't just innocent mistakes. These were carefully planned operations designed to hide millions of dollars from the authorities. The FBI has been investigating these financial dealings for years, and now they have enough evidence to bring down not only Diddy, but his sons as well.
A huge win for a Michigan inmate in his legal battle against disgraced hip-hop producer and rapper Sean Diddy Combs.
Everything that you're looking at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as this seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in, every bit of it.
On top of that, there are rumors that Diddy's sons were involved in some of the more unsavory aspects of their father's empire. Allegations have surfaced that they helped facilitate connections between powerful figures and shady individuals, setting the stage for deals that went far beyond legal boundaries. While these rumors are still unconfirmed, the fact that the FBI has opened separate cases against the sons suggests that there's more to the story than we know. Their involvement in their father's affairs goes deeper, than just being passive participants. They were active players, and now they're facing the consequences. In the end, it seems like Diddy's sons made the only choice they could. Faced with the possibility of spending years, if not decades, behind bars, they chose to protect themselves. But in doing so, they've dealt the final blow to their father's already crumbling empire. It's hard to imagine what Diddy must be feeling right now. Betrayed, humiliated, and defeated. The man who once ruled the music industry, who built an empire out of nothing, now sits alone in a prison cell, his legacy shattered by the very people he trusted the most.
Diddy is now being sued in addition to what we just talked about by Dawn Richards. You guys will remember her. She was a part of Making the Band.
Dirty Money.
Dirty Money, the Danny Kane era. So basically what she is alleging, she's alleging a lot of different...
But the drama doesn't end here. As Diddy languishes in prison, it's becoming increasingly clear that his downfall has triggered a ripple effect across Hollywood. More and more celebrities are reportedly being linked to Diddy's crimes, and many of them are said to be cooperating with the FBI in exchange for leniency. The empire Diddy built on secrets and lies is collapsing, and everyone who was once a part of it is now scrambling to save themselves.
All allegations that have become shockingly familiar against Diddy in recent months, as he has faced lawsuit after lawsuit from women and men who have accused him of all manner of bad behavior.
Now that Diddy's own sons have turned on him, it's as if the floodgates have opened, and it's not just family betraying him anymore. As the case continues to unravel, more and more celebrities who were once loyal to the music mogul are suddenly distancing themselves, or even more shockingly, quietly cooperating with the FBI. It's becoming painfully clear that Diddy's empire, which was built on secrecy, money, and power, is now crumbling, and those closest to him are jumping shit to save their own necks. The question on everyone's mind now is, who's next?
New at 5, the legal troubles continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who says that he was assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs and then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the lawsuit in court.
Diddy's downfall didn't happen overnight, but the speed at which things have escalated is nothing short of dramatic. After decades of being one of the most untouchable figures in the music and entertainment industry, it seems like karma has finally come knocking. It wasn't just his sons who decided to flip the script and cooperate with authorities. The whispers coming out of Hollywood suggest that a number of big-name celebrities, yes, those same faces we've all seen partying with him for years, are now turning state's evidence, hoping to avoid being caught in the web of criminal activity that's been tied to Diddy's name.
The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
Let's take a moment to consider what we're dealing with here. For years, Diddy hosted infamous gatherings, lavish events filled with music industry elites, Hollywood A-listers, and all the glitz and glam that only a star-studded party could provide. But those events weren't just about networking or having a good time. According to reports, these parties were where some of the most questionable dealings in Hollywood took place. Deals were made behind closed doors, favors were exchanged, and Diddy's influence over these celebrities only grew stronger. He had the power to make or break careers, and for a long time, no one dared to cross him.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
But now, as the FBI digs deeper into his activities, all of that is changing. Celebrities who once considered Diddy a close friend and business ally are finding themselves implicated in ways they never expected. Take, for example, the allegations that some of Hollywood's biggest stars attended these events and may have been involved in things they would rather not see come to light. While no one has been formally charged yet, rumors are swirling that these celebrities are now quietly working with investigators behind the scenes. They're giving up details, hoping to save their reputations and avoid any legal trouble themselves.
Well, either way, if you got to run to a private island because your evil doings is doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
One of the most shocking names to be tied to this growing scandal is none other than Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, the Hollywood heartthrob and environmental activist. According to sources, DiCaprio was a frequent guest at Diddy's legendary parties, and while there's no evidence suggesting he was directly involved in anything illegal, the fact that his name has been dragged into the mix is enough to raise eyebrows. Could it be that DiCaprio is one of the many stars now cooperating with the FBI to distance himself from Diddy's downfall? Some insiders believe that DiCaprio, like others, may be offering information in exchange for keeping his name out of the headlines. And it doesn't stop there. Jay-Z, Beyonce, Ashton Kutcher, and Paris Hilton are just a few of the other high-profile names that have been whispered in connection with Diddy's scandal. While none of them have made any public statements about their involvement, the silence from these celebrities is deafening. Remember, this is Hollywood we're talking about, a world we're talking about, A world where public perception is everything. The fact that these stars have remained so quiet amid all the chaos speaks volumes. If they had nothing to hide, wouldn't they come forward and defend their names? Instead, we're seeing cryptic social media posts disappear, old statements resurfacing, and, in some cases, complete radio silence.
Basically, what that means is the money that they're saying Diddy has to start paying this guy on October 1st, Diddy's team is like, hold on, we need an emergency conversation about why this should not have been granted. And they awarded him a TRO, which basically meant that Diddy's team was not allowed to sell any property in that state or anything related to what could be used to pay the plaintiff.
Let's not forget Usher, who, according to rumors, may have also played a part in Diddy's empire. Usher, who once lived with Diddy, has been linked to some of the wild behavior that took place during those notorious parties. In fact, an old interview resurfaced where Usher himself admitted to witnessing some pretty shocking things while staying under Diddy's roof. Now, Usher has gone almost completely dark on social media. His account was wiped clean, and posts related to his time with Diddy have mysteriously vanished. Of course, his team is saying his account was hacked, but let's be real, that sounds like a convenient excuse given the current situation. Could it be that Usher is also cooperating with authorities to protect himself from further scrutiny?
That he controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
Then there's Megan Fox. Known for her striking looks and fearless attitude, Fox was another frequent guest at Diddy's events. Recently, she's gone completely silent on social media as well, deleting all her posts on platforms like Instagram and X. Fans have noticed, and speculation is running wild. Why would she delete everything just as Diddy's legal troubles were heating up? Could it be that she's distancing herself from the scandal to avoid being dragged into the mess? It wouldn't be the first time a celebrity went off the grid to avoid getting caught up in someone else's drama. It's not just the celebrities, though. The music industry is also feeling the ripple effects of Diddy's downfall. Executives who once stood by him are now reportedly scrambling to cover their tracks. Universal Music Group's CEO Lucian Grange and former Motown Records CEO Ethiopia Habtemariam, both of whom were named in the lawsuit filed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones, have faced increasing scrutiny for their connections to Diddy. While neither of them has been formally charged, the fact that their names were even mentioned in such a high-profile case has sent shockwaves through the industry. Rodney Lil Rod Jones, the producer who worked for Diddy from 2022 to 2023, accused these music executives of being complicit in Diddy's illegal activities. According to the lawsuit, Grain and Habtemariam were present at some of the parties where questionable dealings took place, and their connections to Diddy may have helped shield him from consequences for years. Grange's lawyers have already filed a motion to dismiss the case, claiming the allegations are baseless and that the lawsuit is nothing more than an attempt to drag their client's name through the mud. But the damage has already been done. The association with Diddy is enough to raise suspicions, and it's clear that people are starting to distance themselves from the former music mogul to avoid being caught in the crossfire.
That's of course. There's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers upon layers.
Another name that has surfaced in connection with the case is Cuba Gooding Jr. in a stunning twist. Just hours after federal agents raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami, an amendment to the lawsuit was filed, accusing Gooding of inappropriate behavior. The producer claimed that Diddy passed him off to Gooding, who allegedly assaulted him during a party. These allegations have only added fuel to the fire, with Gooding's involvement in the case bringing even more attention to Diddy's network of powerful associates. Gooding, for his part, has remained tight-lipped about the accusations, but his representatives have been contacted for comment. As more details continue to emerge, it's clear that this scandal is much bigger than anyone initially realized.
That this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
At this point, it's no longer a matter of whether Diddy's empire will crumble. It's a matter of how quickly it's falling apart. The people who once surrounded him are now distancing themselves, desperate to save their own reputations. As the FBI continues to investigate, it's becoming increasingly clear that Diddy's powerful network wasn't as loyal as he once thought. Celebrities who partied with him for years are now working with authorities, spilling secrets to protect themselves. The loyalty that Diddy built over decades has evaporated in a matter of months, and he's left with very few allies in his corner. It's easy to imagine how devastating this must be for Diddy. For a man who prided himself on his ability to control the narrative, this scandal has taken on a life of its own. His once glamorous image is now tarnished, and the people he trusted the most are the very ones handing over information to bring him down. As more celebrities and industry insiders cooperate with investigators, Diddy's chances of mounting any kind of defense grow slimmer by the day. The court of public opinion has already turned against him, and with each new revelation, it becomes harder to imagine how he could ever recover from this. The story of Diddy's downfall is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power. For years, he wielded enormous influence in the entertainment industry, using his wealth and status to protect himself from consequences. But now, the very people who helped him rise to the top are the ones tearing him down. As the legal battles continue to unfold, it's clear that the once mighty mogul is now facing the fight of his life. His sons have betrayed him. His celebrity friends are cooperating with the authorities, and his empire is in shambles. The question now isn't just whether Diddy will end up behind bars for good. It's how many others will go down with him.
Not only should he have apologized to Kathy in that video, he should have apologized to all of the general public that he lied to.
And that's where we're at today. The investigation is far from over, and as more celebrities come forward, the list of those involved in Diddy's downfall only gets longer. Some are quietly cutting deals. Others are erasing their digital footprints. And everyone is watching to see who will be the next to flip. Diddy built an empire on secrecy, but now that those secrets are out in the open, there's no going back. So what do you think? Will more celebrities step forward and cooperate with the FBI, or are there still powerful figures working behind the scenes to protect Diddy? And how do you think this will all end for him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this story as it develops